Someone who's always advocated for better, stronger India-Sri Lanka ties is former Sri Lankan President and 6 times Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, and we have him with us today. Thank you for joining TD India. Mr. Wickremesinghe, how do you see the Prime Minister Modi's visit, especially in the context that it was the first visit that even President Desanayake undertook when he assumed office to India last year in July, and now Prime Minister Modi is the first global leader to come to India when the new government has taken over?
No, it is important because Sri Lanka and India must have closer relations, and those include economic relations. That's the most important. In other fields we have been working and we've achieved a certain amount of success. We have much more to do in the case of economics, but also in regard to what's happening in the world itself. For instance, we had these Trump tariffs that have come. It's essential that we discuss and exchange views regularly. When I came in 2023, we prepared a list called the vision statement of the interactions and the projects that have to take place between the two countries. Connectivity was the key to it. So we have to go ahead with this type of program. We shouldn't hold back. That is my view.
If I ask you to look back, how do you assess India-Sri Lanka ties, their progress in the past, especially keeping in mind the kind of helping hand that India lent during the economic crisis of 2022, and also its future prospects now that the Sri Lankan economy is getting back on track?
No, India's 4.5 billion helped us to survive this. It has been difficult. I am the one who, we know that, because there were time before we got the IMF coverage, we had to depend on what India gave us. But still we are not out of the woods, because we have just finished the fact that we've got everyone to accept, so that we will no longer declare bankrupt. So between that and normalizing and being able to repay your loans is a long distance. Therefore, many people will not come to invest in Sri Lanka. They'll watch Sri Lanka for another period, whether we'll fall down again or whether we can repay our loans. But India is prepared to come in the government, and there were some investors come. If we get them, there'll be more Indian investments coming. My plan was that in 2025 we have at least $3 million worth of Indian investments, as against a million. 3 billion,
yeah,
as against 1 billion from outside. Later on we could have changed the proportions, but initial 2 years required a lot of Indian investments. It's the Indian investments that have given others the confidence to come in, and as the economy improved. Secondly, we gain a lot. Logistics are there because Indian goods containers come into Sri Lanka. Then there's scope for, as we discussed, the Sri Lanka becoming an energy hub. I'm happy that the government is signing that agreement. That there are many other fields where we can really develop.
What about security? How critical is that aspect of India and Sri Lanka ties, and what kind of scope do you see there in terms of building further on what we already have in terms of military exchanges, joint exercises, etc.?
No, that is going on, and Sri Lanka, whichever government it is, has taken the decision that we will not allow anything that harms Indian security to take place in Sri Lanka. But we've gone ahead with the Colombo conclave, and the secretariat is here. We've got to develop it further, and we've also proposed that the Colombo conclave works together with the Indian Ocean Commission, which means all the key maritime routes will be covered by these two organizations. And that's where we should go, so that then we have a we both have a say over the maritime routes in the Indian Ocean.
And some have the perception that in the past Sri Lanka has got a raw deal in its interactions and dealings with other countries. China comes to mind with the debt trap. But do you think that applies to India too, or do you think India is in a different category?
No, I don't think we've got a raw deal as such. We deal with all the countries, but well, we have been dealing with India for about 2,000 years now, so it's a special one.
Okay. And do you think the time is also opportune for addressing certain issues such as those of Lankan Tamils and the fisher folk, which perhaps need a bit of a resolution?
We have to deal with the fisher folks. So one part of that Tamil Nadu was going to promote them to do deep sea fishing, but that hasn't taken place. It has to take place. Even we will have to promote some of our fishermen to take part in deep sea fishing, because basically the Pork Strait is becoming overcrowded. So you have to take them out. There's no other option. And as we go in for energy, Pork Strait has a potential to be a energy center. So that issue has to be resolved. As far as the Tamil issue is concerned, firstly, in the hill country Tamils are concerned, we have a lot to do in social welfare. I've had some plans earlier on building villages for them, to go ahead to further improve their education.
You'd also try to bring all the Tamil parties together.
Yeah, I had discussions with them. As far as the northern eastern Tamils are concerned, we have to do more on the missing persons. What is called the people who have been detained, or who have been, actually most of them all of them have been convicted, and the people, I think we have freed most of these prisoners whom the Tamil party is called political, but they have people who have transgressed the law of Sri Lanka. And I think you're surprised we'll have about 8 difficult cases. We don't even have 10. The big this thing is caused. Those are people in all countries who have people, even in India, who have to serve their sentence. But land release also can be expedited. That has to go ahead. We had drafted the Commission of Inquiry bill that should be enacted. And then the main thing is the development of the North and the East. The vision statement, if that is fully implemented, it will really develop. Trincomalee will develop. Right area, the Sinhala areas, all will benefit with the plans that were there. So the government
and the accord as well in terms of
13th Amendment also at whole elections, and we have to have a relook at and see what are in some areas like education. More powers can be given to the health, agriculture, more powers can be given to the provincial councils.
All right. Thank you for speaking to us. Let's hope when the two leaders sit down, they have the opportunity and they take this opportunity forward in getting better ties between India and Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining us and talking to us.
Thank you.